Hey guys, my name is Allie and this is my first video that I'm recording, and I just want to share the beginning of my new journey going to the military, the Air Force to be exact. And I don't know if people run into the same thing that I ran into, but if so, I wanted to be here to share my experience with them because I am a single parent that was determined to get into the military. And I'm really not sure if a lot of their people have this problem, but when I first started trying to join the military, I was in high school. I was a senior in high school, and my first choice was the Navy. And I did ROTC and CAP when I was in school until I became pregnant. So yeah, the Navy was my first choice, but when I talked to the recruiter, she was like, you have a kid now, you can only go reserve. So I was like, no. So I didn't think about it, and after high school I went to college and I started taking college classes and stuff like that. But I was like, college isn't for me. I want to join the military. And I was like, I've always wanted to join the military since I was a kid. So I was like, my heart is set on joining the military. Well, I went back and talked to another recruiter, and they told me the same thing. It was another Navy recruiter. They told me the same thing. Was like, no, you can only go reserve unless you give up full custody of your child. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna just leave my baby behind. Like, no. I can do temporary, but not full. They was like, well, the only way you can join is if you put in black and white that someone else has custody of your child. They was like, you can still take them with you, but they won't be in your guardianship anymore. They'll be under someone else. I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't want to do that. So I left, and my mom was like, if your heart is really set on joining the military, just do reserve. And maybe later, you can go full-time or active. And so I went back and I went and talked to the same recruiter. I was like, if I go reserve now, can I go active later? And he's like, yeah, he was like, there comes to a grace period where it opens up for reserve to go active once you complete so many years. So I was like, okay. So I was like, I thought about it, and I was like, okay, yeah. So I took the practice test at first, and then, on the practice test, I didn't get enough to take the actual test. So I was like, okay. So I went and took the actual test, and I didn't do so well. So I had kind of gave up on the military because I really didn't want to go reserve. I wanted to go active. That's just something that I had my heart set on, was going active. So I kept going around talking to recruiters and stuff. Well, I branched out from the Navy and I went to the Army. And so I talked to an Army recruiter, and they basically said either get married or give up your rights and you can go active, but unless you do either of those two, then you have to go reserve. So I was like, no, but thank you for your time, thank you for talking to me, everything. So again, I gave up on joining because I didn't want to do reserved. I'm just like, 1 weekend a month, yeah, I can go to school and get my school paid for, but I was like, that's not what I want to do. I want to be able to support my kid, support my family, my son, which is a 2-year-old, with my job. I don't want to be still working like 2 jobs, because basically you'll have to pick up another job because military reserve is only part-time. It's a part-time job. You have to have something that is beneficial to you for the time you're in doing part-time service. You're committed, but you're not fully committed. So I didn't want to do that. So my mom told me to go talk to the Air Force recruiter, and I did, but I went to Air Force Reserved at first. And me and him talked. He was like, why do you want to join? We went through all these questions, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I told him, like, I really want to do active. It's something that I've always wanted to do. I was like, but they said I can't because I have a kid. And he's like, they told you can't. And I was like, well, they haven't really told me that, but that's what they basically hinting around, saying that I have to give up custody. He's like, no. He's like, make them tell you you can't go. You have to do reserve. So he set me up with the active recruiter, and I talked to the active recruiter for the Air Force, and he was like, I was like, yeah. So towards the end of me and the active recruiter's conversation, he was like, do you have kids? And I was like, yeah, I have one. He's like, okay, that's not a problem. He was like, we can get a waiver for that. And I'm like, a waiver? What? And so he ran down like everything. He asked me, did I have a backup plan? Like if I was to get deployed, like who would be there? And my son's dad is really, really active in his life. And my mom is really, really active in my son's life. So they're there for me, especially since I'm doing something to better myself and to better my life for my son. So they're really, really supportive of me and my son. So I ran down to him my backup plan and everything, and who would have my son and all this and that. And he was like, if you can get that typed up in black and white, we can get it to where it is stamped and we can get it waived. And so I was like, okay, great. He was like, but with getting a waiver, you know, you have to score at least a 55. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm like, you know, I can study and I can work really hard to get this. And I'm like, yeah, 55, okay. So he set me up to test and everything, and I tested and I did amazing. I did better than what I thought I was gonna do. And so now I get sworn this week because my waiver was approved for my son, and I'm gonna be a military mommy. So this is for the single dads and the single moms that want to go to the military but think that they can't because they have a kid. That's not the truth. You can do it because I did. So like I said in the beginning, this is my first video, and please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, because I'm going to be updating everyone on my journey with my new beginnings to the military, I'm going to be keeping you guys updated. If you have any questions for me for far as after MEPS and before going to basic, just comment below, subscribe my page, and I will make more videos for you guys, and I will keep you updated. Thank you. Say bye, baby.